Well, it was a little more of the same from the end of last year, Sam, where they're shutting down those inside running lanes, filling those gaps and making that duo play as hard as they can to make for Michigan to run. Okay, that's the first thing that jumped out at me is what is no, and so okay, if that's the case, what's the answer, right? That's the first thing I thought of when the first four plays of the game. I think were all some variations of duo plays. Now they were backed up. Okay, they were on the 1 and 2 yard line, so they couldn't be real flamboyant with their play calling. But it gave you an idea on how ECU was going to think. They're all watching the tapes from last year. Who stopped Michigan? Who contained Michigan? Okay, and they're taking pages out of those books to get that stopped and implementing them into their own plan within the structure of their defense. Not necessarily exactly the way TCU did it, but with the same conceptual thinking. Okay. That's what jumped out at me right away. Okay. So we've talked about this ad nauseum. What's the answer? What's the answer? Well, I was excited. The answer was run the ball outside, which they went to. Now, not with the yield that you'd like. I'd like to see them get a few more yards, but taking the ball down the field with that crowded box. Oh, there was some nice plays that we're going to telestrate, talk about, and dissect so that people can understand what's the answer. The answer is efficient quarterback play, which they got, and good structure within their play action game to get people open. Remember play passes, Sam. They clear out the reads for the quarterback. When you drop back, they all drop and ascend into their zones, and you got to read them and watch what they do. But when you play pass, they all suck up and clear out those zones, and now you can take big old bites. And you're going to see that when we get into more detail in the telestrations. But that jumped out at me more than anything. There were several things we'll talk about in the bitter and the sweet, the good and the bad, what we saw. But that really was the test, right? Do we have counters to crowded and aggressive boxes? And I think they did.
So to me, I'm surprised you didn't lead with this because what you said to me after the game, let me pull up the text that I got for you because you said it in the box as well. You were talking about something you were all over last year, Borges, and that was number nine's footwork. You were
Oh,
just,
yeah.
it used to drive you nuts. And after this game, you're like, hey man, this is a different guy. This is a different guy.
Different guy, Sam. Different guy. Quantum leap. Someone has built him from the ground up again, Sam. You with me?
I'm with you.
Uh, and taken him his skill set and developed his skill set within the structure of the offense. Okay. And this is what was exciting to me as I texted you in the middle of the game and I told you he's made a quantum leap fundamentally. Every pass is now being thrown with his feet moving toward the target when the protection allows, because sometimes you got to skip around it and back out and front out and put yourself in position to make the throw, which he did too. He did that also. But I really was excited that he looks like he's taken that next step that can take their passing game to that next step. So, yeah, that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, man. Kirk Campbell. You can see the Kirk Campbell influence on there big time. That he just was spot on. You really saw it when he was on the move. Al, improv is the time. I hear you talk about it all the time. That's where, hey, guys, just making a play. A lot of times fundamentals that's the place where it's easiest for them to leave. And you noticed every time he broke contain, every time he got outside the pocket, he kept his head downfield. He stayed in his passing profile. He made plays like
He
that.
made he made plays. Here's the deal, okay? With high school quarterbacks, I learned this back when I coached Cade McNown at UCLA. With high school quarterbacks, they're so much better than the people they're playing that any time that something breaks down in a passing game, they completely rely on their athleticism to bail them out, and they could do it. Hell, I used to say if Cade in high school dropped back 10 times, he could turn around for a touchdown, probably about five of them, and not even think about passing. Well, college is a different game, man. Things are happening differently. So you've got to be able to beat the defense with your arm and your legs. And there'll be times when he's going to have to take off and run and do that stuff. But first, you got to give it a chance with your feet put in position. You're always in that profile where you can make that throw. And he was spot on in this game. You're going to see several examples of it where he could have run. He could have run, but he didn't run because he knew you pass for miles, you run for yards. Okay, and I think there's so much evidence in this game that it'll bear itself out.
So the play pass, that was the most effective answer to ECU stacking the box. And I know I think they were 4 for 4 on play passes in this game. One was a DPI, but that counts as a successful play.
Sure.
Al, I mean, 4 times, it felt like more than that.
Yeah.
It felt like we didn't see them, even attempt that many in one game for the first half of the season. Maybe they did, but this felt like a pickup from where they left off last season from a play pass standpoint, and not a repeat of where they were at the beginning of last season from a play pass standpoint. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. All you have to do is watch the TCU game. I mean, that you saw the chunks that they took out of TCU's defense with their play action. They just picked up where they left off. Where a year ago, I mean, we were talking, a quarter to halfway through the season, where's the play action? They're running so well. Why aren't there more play action passes called? Well, they just started the season doing what they're probably going to do the entire season. And that being to take at least 2 to 3 shots a half, okay, where they can run layered routes, run middle floods, do those types of things, pull the defense up, throw the ball behind them, and give those receivers a chance to run after catch. Again, Sam, it's so much better for the quarterback in terms of reading the defense, because defenders are eliminated by playing the run, and you don't have to read that buzz. I call the buzz being the underneath defenders who get underneath those throws and can cloud the quarterback's vision a little bit in terms of where to throw it. Play passes are much more definitive with regard to reads.